I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on the Matrix. Yeah, and you mentioned the soap, we mentioned the vegetable oils,
It's
we
also
mentioned the endocrine disruptors and stuff.
yeah, it's also funny. Tate and I actually chatted a lot a couple years ago.
Okay.
We were following each other on Instagram. We kind of exchanged. We were kind of shooting the
It's
shit.
super crazy because the kind of the space we're in on Twitter, they call it like money Twitter or whatever, business Twitter. He was one of like the big people in that like 3, 4 years ago. And then he kind of blew up out of nowhere. So the people in our space kind of saw him come out of nowhere. And it's cool that you also knew who he was as well before this big kind of like blow up.
Yeah, I actually like I had a guy, a friend I knew, and he was like, yo, check out this guy Tate. This is a couple years ago. And I go on his channel, and he's got this YouTube video talking about like body language, how like basically the Russian special forces or whatever, they were very stoic and they talk and they wouldn't move, which was a problem because if you're gonna freaking attack someone, they see it coming. So they learn to use their hands and talk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this dude is like talking about like any moment, regular life, being ready for combat. I was like, that's freaking gangster. I like that. And so, and the way he talked, I was like, this is like he's saying some freaking smart stuff. So I saw him very early before he became extremely controversial. And we chatted. We were supposed to kind of hang out and stuff like that. Didn't happen. And also like Canada was in lockdown for a while, but yeah, I got a good. Yeah.
On that note, that's super cool. I think that's super cool. Kind of like worlds colliding, right? But what are your thoughts on quote the Matrix and these endocrine disruptors and the corporate system and whatnot? Do you believe there's like conspiracy there, etc.? Or like what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think that like the world we live in now is very different than, our parents' generation, for example. I mean, even going back 50 years, a man, or a single person could work and buy a home, get 2 cars, have 3 kids, support a family. It's not like you can't do that today.
Yeah.
Like maybe some places you can, but if you're in the big city, you're in Toronto, LA, Miami, it's like it's not a reality. Even people with pretty good jobs can barely like the idea of having 3 kids is like, both people have to work now and everyone's stressed and no one has like, yes, there are people that are making, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, millions of dollars a month, but that's such a tiny, tiny minority.
Right. And the traditional gender roles are kind of ruined because of that. Would you say?
Yeah. How do you mean?
Like both the female and the male working rather
Right.
than the man going to work and making the money for the family.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't
like,
support it.
when I like kind of partner or like, find a partner and stuff like that, like she's not going to be working. There's no reason for that.
Yeah.
I will handle, like, I will, work on the money. Like my mom stayed at home. And he kind of, and it was if my mom would have been working, it would have no benefit. Like you need, like, yeah. So but yeah, now I don't think most people can't do it. Like a guy that's making $150,000 a year in Toronto still needs more money coming in if he's going to have kids.
Yeah. Yeah, rent's what, 4K a month, 3K a month, whatever. If they're renting.
Yeah, and then taxes, like $150K a year is not $150K a year, and then what's it, $85,000, and that which is like
Nothing.
$7,000 a month, and then
Nothing in a big city.
Sorry,
It's nothing in a big city.
it's nothing. Yeah.
So the lockdowns in Canada.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? I think I remember seeing a video of you. You were at like Bradley Martin's gym or something.
Yeah.
You guys like talked about it.
I don't think is anyone dumb enough that they're like, yeah, that was great. No one thinks it's good. Maybe in the moment they thought it was good. Retrospectively, you have to have extremely low IQ to be like, this was that was the right decision. No one thinks it's good. The challenge that I found was that like we tested it, right? We tested it for a few months. We tested it for a year, and our own government kept going back knowing it was complete dog shit. And it wasn't like, things don't exist in a vacuum, right? So you can't be like, okay, you know what? Potentially we got to get locked down to try and control things and all this. There is a cascading negative effects happen. Mental health issues, overdoses, depression, like violence in homes. The amount of negatives that happened were far worse than any potential benefit. The strain on the economy, businesses shut down. Money is required to support life. And then the government has to print tons and tons of money. The value of the money goes down. There's so many things that happen. The idea the government can tell you do not have the right to run your business. Now you got to pay these expenses. You got to pay for rent. You got to watch your freaking life savings go to zero. It is complete and absolute garbage. No one, like with that's worth a grain of salt would tell you otherwise. You just can't. You can't look at the research and be like, yeah, this made a lot of sense. This was completely worth it. You have to be really, really stupid.